Nearly 80,000 participants, including children and young people, from over 170 countries, responded to the call of the Universal House of Justice in October 2008 to participate in one of 41 regional conferences around the world. They came to celebrate the accomplishments of the Baha'i world and to plan for the work that lies ahead. Within the 2 weeks following the call, the first conference was held in Zambia. Over a period of 4 months, every weekend at least one conference, but sometimes as many as 4 took place.
It is my great joy to welcome each and every one of you to this historic conference called by the Universal House of Justice at this midpoint of the 5-year plan.
La conferencia ha estado tan genial, aparte del espíritu que se ha sentido adentro.
जब मैं ये कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड किया, क्योंकि मेरा ये फर्स्ट टाइम है कॉन्फ्रेंस में, जब मैं यहाँ पे आया तो देखता हूँ कि यहाँ पे सारे धर्म के लोग, सारे जाति के लोग एक हैं.
These historic gatherings provided the opportunity for the Baha'is of the world and their friends to come together at the midpoint of the global 5-year plan. They shared their impressive achievements in community building activities, such as devotional gatherings, children's classes, junior youth groups, and study circles. They reflected and consulted upon what had been learned so far and focused on current needs and opportunities. They were inspired to arise with renewed vigor and rededicate themselves, their time, and their energy to the service of humanity. It was also a time for celebration.
Lusaka,
Nakuru,
Johannesburg,
Bangui,
Bangalore,
Uvira, New Delhi,
Quito, Kolkata,
Lubumbashi,
Antofagasta,
Yaoundé,
Manila,
Chicago,
Almaty,
Portland,
Atlanta,
Los Angeles,
Stanford,
Dallas,
Kuching,
São Paulo, Kuala Lumpur,
Abidjan,
London,
Toronto,
Guadalajara,
Ley,
Vancouver,
Managua,
Madrid,
Sydney,
Ulaanbaatar,
Auckland,
Pratambam,
Frankfurt,
Padova, Istanbul,
Accra,
Baku,
Kiev,
No matter how humble or elaborate the setting, the spirit, the vision, and purpose were one. How could those present, women and men, young and old, arise with fresh determination and intensify their efforts to bring the healing message of Baha'u'llah to humanity? How could they play their part in this mighty spiritual enterprise? To these historic gatherings, the Universal House of Justice sent members of the International Teaching Center as its representatives.
Beloved friends, Allahu Akbar. It is my great joy and privilege to be part of this happy gathering of eager and consecrated servants of Baha'u'llah, and to be a witness of the series of magnificent conferences which are setting ablaze the whole world. We are becoming more and more a world-embracing community with a clear mission, objectives, strategies, methods, and instruments to advance the spiritual and material civilization in the light of Baha'u'llah's revelation. We are living a growing community, embracing people of all backgrounds, of all walks of life, in which everyone finds their place, everyone finds the space for service. We are becoming more and more a community in the learning mode, constantly acting systematically, reflecting, consulting, and trying to walk the path of service with a humble posture of learning in the process of building a new civilization. These conferences provide for us a unique opportunity to reflect on our learning and to re-clarify for ourselves some of the key concepts that constitute the bedrock of the current stage in the divine plan.
As I left for university, I met my first Baha'i. This friend, in fact, began a Book One study circle in the very house that we shared with a few friends and invited me to join, but I said no. So shortly after university, this same friend and I traveled to Central America, and we served there for 6 months together. And it was here that one of the volunteers invited me to begin a Book One, and this time I accepted the invitation. I did do a lot of debating with myself before, whether I should or shouldn't, what it would mean about my faith. I went through a whole process, but thought, well, why not? Here I am. And from this moment onwards, when I started Book One, my life changed. I realized how beautiful the writings were. I began also to start feeling that there was something really captivating about Baha'u'llah. Very late in the evening, after we'd been talking more and more, I whispered to my friend that I was a Baha'i. And it was the happiest and also the scariest moment of my life. So soon after I returned home, I began the second book in the sequence, and then was offered the opportunity to do book 5. And I was so excited as I really wanted to put into practice my experience with young people. So last summer, we had our first junior youth outreach project, and then promptly began a junior youth group. I co-animated this group, and just last month we finished Breezes of Confirmation.
I was going through book 1 and I was saying, this seems so simple. This is so elementary. And then I realized in conversations, a kindly tongue is the lodestone. Oh yeah, okay. The betterment of the world through pure and goodly deeds. Wow, you see how it fits in everything.
I was very curious about spirituality and didn't know much about it. Book 1 was the first step to me exploring spirituality. I learned how to pray. This was very hard for me because I didn't understand this habit and I had never prayed before. I learned that prayer is just like talking to someone you love. And if you love someone, then there's nothing that can stop you from talking to that person. Right after I finished my book 1, my tutor suggested that I start the devotional, but I had no idea how to host one. They suggested that they could accompany me to invite both friends and the people we didn't know yet. So I hosted my first devotional. Right now, devotional gathering has become a regular activity in my neighborhood.
Di ritorno da una conferenza, questo mio amico, questo ragazzo, mi ha parlato del circolo di studio. Io non avevo ben capito di che cosa si trattava, comunque insomma mi fidavo molto di questo mio amico, allora ho accettato la sua proposta. Al primo incontro del circolo di studio, questo mio amico ci si mise a sedere intorno al tavolino e lui tirò fuori un libro di preghiere. E io, un brivido mi scorse lungo la schiena, proprio per capire, io non ero assolutamente abituato a pregare, a parlare di spiritualità, di Dio, così apertamente. Le sue parole sono state: di solito noi iniziamo la nostra attività con una preghiera, no? E io, un po' spaventato, ho detto, va bene, ok, insomma. Allora ho cominciato a leggere le preghiere e abbiamo iniziato il circolo di studio. Avevo scoperto questa capacità di comunicare con Dio che prima non avevo mai sentito. Sono andato avanti con il circolo di studio e prima del termine ho deciso di dichiararmi. Avevo terminato la sequenza dei libri e tutte le persone che erano rimaste colpite dalla mia trasformazione mi hanno chiesto averne di più e con loro ho fatto la pratica del libro 7, ho aperto un mio primo circolo di studio che è andato avanti e ha avuto dei risvolti molto belli. Grazie.
The Institute process has also inspired a remarkable surge of artistic expression at the grassroots. This was reflected in a variety of moving and uplifting community performances presented at every conference.
Wow conference. When I got the email that they'd asked me to tell a story, the first line said, "Are you comfortable speaking in front of 3 or 4?" I thought, oh yeah, 3 or 4 is good. 1,000 people. I was going through a corridor and we're wading through kids. And a kid runs up to me and says, "Oh, do you want to speak to my mom?" And I'm like, yes I do. And so we started talking to his mom about a children's class. And right then and there, we were talking with all of the children and teaching them the song, "We Are Drops." And it was very exciting because 2 nights later, I see this group of kids go to the laundromat. And I'm thinking, are those my kids? They look like my kids. And then they come out and start yelling at me, "We are drops of one ocean. We are drops of one ocean." And I thought, they are. They absolutely are. When I started going to this neighborhood, I was uncomfortable with the neighborhood. I wasn't familiar with the neighborhood. But as we started serving there, as we started having our children's classes there, I understood what it was talking about. Blessed is the spot.
Our learning is that we can always look at the needs of the neighborhood. And then we can offer the service that complies with the needs of the neighborhood. We looked at our block of flats because there were many mothers with children. And there was this interest. We started a children's class. We were a little bit scared. We didn't have any experience with children's classes. We prepared small invitations and we visited or met mothers that are living in our block of flats. We invited them to a meeting where we explained what the children's class will be about. We said we would learn prayers with children, we would sing songs, we would learn about qualities, talk about love of God, stories, games, and so on. And the mothers were very interested in such a program, and 8 children registered to our children's class.
When my husband and I heard that the House of Justice has asked us to set up local children's classes. With no training behind us, we started. If there was a quality that we clung to, it was faith and trust that we were doing the right thing.
Solo I was first introduced to the Baha'i faith by two Baha'i friends, and they told me about the junior youth group that was being started up and said I should come check it out. I was really confused what was happening in the junior youth program. I felt more like a junior youth than a potential animator. At first, I thought that the program would not be as effective because the junior youth would think that books are for school. But then with time, I realized that the book gives the program a purpose. An example of this is that we had a junior youth that went up to his teacher and told him about the junior youth program. And then he said that he's reading the book called Breezes of Confirmation. And the teacher asked, what does confirmation mean? And the junior youth replied, when we want to do something, we make an effort, and God confirms us. I was really inspired and liked the junior youth program. When we planned the first service project, I realized how much potential the junior youths had in serving the community.
Quand j'ai fini d'étudier le livre 5, comme j'avais un club de poèmes, et ils avaient l'âge de 12, 15, 12, 13 ans, j'ai ouvert un groupe pour très jeunes. Au début, c'était très difficile. Il n'y avait pas la collaboration entre eux. Peut-être qu'ils pouvaient faire des questions qui doivent répondre vrai ou faux. Taïré qui dit vrai, Vaïd qui me dit non. Pourquoi non? Parce que Taïré dit vrai. En fait, c'était très difficile. Alors un jour, je me suis fâchée, je les ai chassés tous. Alors, je suis rentrée chez nous. Je me suis dit, mais c'est quelle sorte d'enfant? J'ai prié Dieu. Et je ne sais pas comment ça s'est arrangé, ça c'était un miracle. Mais aujourd'hui, c'est vraiment un club, il y a l'amitié, c'est tout ce que moi j'ai appris. Eux, il faut juste être leur ami. Il faut qu'eux sachent que vous êtes leur confidence. Quoi qu'ils fassent, ils savent que j'ai quand même quelqu'un qui doit m'entendre.
We were called and we answered.
We came and we arose to serve.